Now, I already made a video about Peter Dinklage's interview where I found him to be incredibly spiteful and show a huge lack of gratitude towards the fans that put food on his table and allowed him to become the millionaire that he is today. But, you know, I'm a partisan. Some people might call me an ideologue, so maybe my opinions on the issue aren't what most people think. So we're going to go today on the IGN forums, or at least the IGN post on Facebook. And we're going to see how average people think about what Peter Dinklage says, because it's not just about Peter Dinklage, but it's this whole vibe of people that benefit from entertainment, like they make a lot of money on, and they also diss the fans. They also take a huge piss on the people that, and I love this expression because it's so true, put food on their table. So to remind you, Peter Dinklage said that it's fiction, there's dragons in it, the show subverts what you think, and that's what I love about it. Everybody had their own stories going on, but nobody was as good as what the show delivered. And he says that people expected to see the pretty white people flying in the sunset. And by the way, didn't the pretty white people actually fly into the sunset? Didn't Arya Stark get a happy ending? Didn't Sansa Stark get a happy ending? Didn't Bran sit on the Iron Throne? Like, the pretty white people did fly into... What on earth is he talking about? Oh, God. But anyway, right, let's see how people are handling this. What does he care? He got paid all the same. His investment in the series is probably not the same as a fan. And this is something that I actually didn't know, but it's probably true. He is very much invested in the sense that he contractually gets residuals and other money every time his show makes money, and may even get a cut of merchandise sales, all depending on the specific contract. Likely these negotiations amounts were greater for later seasons. It is always in the actor's best interest, monetarily speaking, to complement and promote the show they were in, because they literally benefit when more people watch and enjoy it. So I suppose if you buy like a Tyrion Lannister shaped figurine that looks like Peter Dinklage, he might get a cut of. So he's probably very salty with the fact that people don't like Game of Thrones, at least not the latest seasons, and they're not buying his merchandise, so he's not making his millions of dollars. It's very interesting. I guess this opens my eyes a little bit more. Now I understand why he is so salty towards the fans. Because take into account, there are those video footages of the actors who are reading the script for the last episodes, and you can see Emilia and other actors like legitimately face palming as they're reading the script, and even the actors themselves are cringing. But you don't see Peter Dinklage attacking them. You don't see him going after them. No, he's going after the fans. Very interesting. I love this comment as well. I mean, this is probably my favorite. Because the show has dragons, we have no reason to care about character consistency or logical decisions. I love the end of The Hobbit, where they make Bilbo king of the Middle-earth, and he has a good story after all. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like that. You know, just because a show has dragons doesn't mean that you don't need to have a script that's consistent. Like, the idea that just because a show has dragons, everything goes, then how can you differentiate a good show that has dragons versus a bad show that has dragons? I also like this. You kind of missed the point. I don't remember Bilbo being from a lord's family, getting power to read minds and see past and probable future. Oh God! You just spoiled the ending of a movie I may have wanted to watch. What? Bilbo Baggins doesn't become a lord, you twat. This guy is just taking the piss. He's comparing it to Game of Thrones. An ending so bad that it went from the most hyped and talked show to nothing. Like, yeah, you know, like this is a big problem. I remember when everyone was making Game of Thrones memes. And by the way, this is like a thermometer that tells you whether or not the show is actually good. Like, I don't care what Rotten Tomatoes and IMDb says. If a show is good, you're going to see memes of it. When people like something, there's going to be memes. And there were so many Game of Thrones memes because in order for a meme to exist, Not only do you need someone that's passionate about the show to create the meme, but then you need people that watch the show, that are in the know, to spread the meme. So if a show is popular and a lot of people watch it, then the meme gets spread. If no one knows about a show, if the show is just something ambiguous, then people don't spread it because they don't see it. So in the case of Game of Thrones, like, there were so many memes and the merchandise was flowing off the shelves until you reach to the last season. And when you go to the last season, and I think even the season before that, you notice people aren't making memes anymore. You notice people aren't buying the merchandise anymore. You don't see that many people with Game of Thrones t-shirts. It shows that it went to shit. Pretty much. I love this comment as well. Another person who thinks that subverting an audience's expectation means good writing. So there's a good way to subvert the audience's expectation, and there's a bad way to do it. The good way to subvert the audience expectation is to have the main character having his head chopped off at the end of the first season. So you get Ned Stark, everyone is expecting that something will happen and stave off the execution. But no, the execution goes forward. People are shocked, and it makes sense from the lore point of view. It sets the tone that this is a grim, dark story. Another example is the Red Wedding. No one expected that they're going to get assassinated at the wedding. A bad way to subvert expectation is to have Daenerys just burn down civilians because she heard some bells. When it doesn't make any sense. I mean, if she wanted to burn down civilians, it would have made sense to do so if the city didn't surrender, if the army was using civilians as shields. Like, okay, fine. You kind of get it then. She wanted the throne so bad, she just forgot caring about the little people. But what they did makes absolutely no sense. So, just stop subverting my expectations. If you want to subvert my expectations, you can do so by having good writing. Like, I would actually have my expectations subverted if a show did some good writing. And this is exactly what this person is pointing out here. Because everyone is like, wait, but didn't the Red Wedding subvert your expectations? It's like, the Red Wedding is unexpected because you don't think that the good guys are going to die. It's expected that the Freys would act the way they did after being slighted and dishonored while having Tywin talk into his ear and offer him the one thing he's always wanted, to rule the Riverlands and get back at the Tullys. So the way George R.R. Martin subverts your expectations is that he goes against fantasy tropes where the heroes don't have plot armor. So if the heroes make mistakes, they end up paying the price for it. Jaime loses his hand, Ned Stark loses his head, so on and so forth. But the pieces are there. It's not like a gotcha. It's like peekaboo. Peekaboo is 5 years old. That is the level of the peekaboo. What George R.R. Martin is doing is like he is setting the puzzle, and a person that's paying close attention is going to figure out what piece of the puzzle comes next based on what came previously. I think like a great example of pointing out exactly this phenomenon is when you look at the modern horror movie, especially any from the universe of The Conjuring, and you will notice that how much they rely on jump scares. Jump scares are really easy to obtain, is the peekaboo, and a 5-year-old can do it. But then you think about a really great horror movie, like something that people remember over the decades. Something like Event Horizon. Like that is a deeper horror. That is some existential dread going on there, and it's amazing because of that. It's difficult to write something like that. It's very easy to write the peekaboo. But anyway, right. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you in the comment section. Take care.